Transmedia and multimedia. What are they? Well, in simple terms, multimedia is the creation of content that exists on a variety of platforms. An example of this might be a film releasing on disc and digital download. It's the same content, you just access it through a different means. Transmedia follows a similar principle, except as well as the film there might exist a comic or game that contributes to your overall knowledge of the original media, while also standing on its own as individual content. I imagine this may sound like a slightly confusing concept, so I'll explain it through a use of a pop culture icon. But just how is Batman both a transmedia and multimedia concept? Batman was created by Bob Kane and first appeared in Detective Comics 27 in 1939. Since this first appearance, there have been many different interpretations of the character, from a gorilla-like figure in Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns, to the brooding figure in Batman the Animated Series, or even the flamboyant Adam West Batman in the 1960s television show, who would rather dance his foes to death than fight them. Through each modern reimagining of the character, unique stories have expanded into comics, games, TV shows, and even modern films in order to add to the original mold Bob Kane began. One of the more defining iterations of the character was none other than Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight film trilogy, which ran from 2005 to 2012. Through a gritty and realistic tone, Nolan attempted to display the more human side of the character. The films largely disregarded the origins of each character from the original comics, and sought to create versions of each character as if they would exist in the real world. Although the films nodded towards several different comic sources, they were largely influenced visually by other films like Ridley Scott's Blade Runner. The films, affectionately regarded to as the Nolanverse, are not considered part of the main canon of the Batman story, however, which is to say considered an alternate take on the established story of the character. In this sense, while we recognise Batman as a transmedia franchise, Nolan's films could also be recognised as purely multimedia. The only way to access the films is through Blu-ray, DVD, and digital downloads that offer effectively the same content. The story does not necessarily contribute to Bob Kane's version of the character, therefore allowing it to stand apart as its own conceptual vision and idea. While a Batman Begins game and a toy line was released, these are not considered transmedia, as they didn't add anything new to the audience's understandings of the film or the film's universe. So effectively, and in summary, transmedia is like taking a picture of your lunch on social media. It's been done so many times before it could be considered its own self-contained universe, with a single image contributing to a wider idea. However, multimedia would be having only one of those images existing over multiple platforms, such as a Facebook image and the same image printed in a book, although God knows why you'd print images of your lunch in a book.